Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is our first chance to see each other on the Monday, and welcome to this little time that we can have together. First, welcome to my bear cave. This is my man cave out here. Not too many people are allowed to see this place. In fact, there's only a few people that have been, and those that have, I've had to kill them. I'm sorry. It's a secret place, and you can't mess with my space. No. Let me show you. I'm going to give you a virtual tour. This is where I hang out. This is in my garage. I built this about right when we started the church 10 years ago. And just my little getaway and safe. And you'll notice that I kind of like books. Yeah, that looks like my office at church too. I'm going to unplug here. It might get darker. So here's the 360 tour, just like they do for houses, of my office in my garage in my head. This is really cool. This is my man cave. There's where I come in. Here's my desk. There's where I watch my movies on my big screen there. And I see my light. I like to have that shining down in my Bible. Shut all the other lights off and I read. But ever since I built a shelf on my college desk just like that. And so I've always had one wherever I've gone. I built a shelf on my desk so I can grab the books. Got to have an air conditioner in here. So I got that. Everything's hunky-dory. But anyways, there's my man cave. Or what I call the bear cave. Got a variety of books in here as well. All right, wasn't that exciting? Yeah. Carrie thinks this is where she'll find me someday and she'll bury me someday. But at any rate, this is my quiet space. So here's what I'm thinking. I put together a thing called 40 Days of Hope, pursuing God through a pandemic. And I've kind of gone back and forth about what I wanted exactly to do with it. And it's just a great opportunity for us to spend some time seeking God and pursuing God. We're at home. We don't have lots of other things to do. Boy, to spend 10 to 15 minutes with the Lord every day we could really use this pandemic to grow spiritually as well. So I've kind of gone back and forth, and I'm sorry for the confusion. I said on Sunday sermon that we're going to go through Luke and Acts, and then I had Jeff send out 40 days in the Psalms. So I'm sure that you're really confused. So I was confused as well because I really wanted us to. I just was trying to think of the best way and the best text to use in order during this 40-day period. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do both. And so I redid the 40 days. What I did is put a sheet together, an outline together, and gave you the date, and I gave you the different chapters to read. It should take you about 10 minutes to read. And then once you read, I have one in the Old Testament and then in some in the New Testament as well. So the Psalms, why did I choose that? Well, the Psalms captures emotion. It captures what people are going through when they're really going through difficult times. It's meant to be worship. It's meant to be reflection. It's meant to be poetry. It's called wisdom literature. But it's people crying out to God in the middle of what they're going through. And so I thought that really would capture the feelings that people feel, but also how they responded and how they look to the Lord. And so I think we can really experience some really neat things by looking at that. So we're going to look at that. We're going to experience God in the Psalms. And then I thought, let's go ahead and read through Luke and Acts. Luke and Acts are written or recorded by Luke. He was a historian. So we're going to kind of get his flavor on the life of Christ and the life of the early church. And then we're also going to read through Romans and Ephesians and Colossians, very powerful sections of the Bible. They're called the prison epistles or the prison letters. And we're going to kind of tap into Paul's theology and thinking as well. So every day you'll read about 4 chapters, and that should take you 10 minutes. It's not really long. Some of the Psalms are really short. So you read a couple of the Psalms, and then you read a couple chapters in the New Testament, Luke, Acts, Romans, so on and so forth. I have it all laid out for you. And then I just want you to sit back and reflect a little bit, and maybe jot down a verse that really was impactful for you. There's some really good, what I call refrigerator verses, those that you want to remember, and you put them on your refrigerator, and so that you can look at them every day. For instance, this is the day that the Lord hath made, I will rejoice and be glad in it. That's found in the Psalms. That should be put on our refrigerator, and that every day that we get up, this is another opportunity for us to serve the Lord. That's what I mean by refrigerator verses. And so you can jot down, I gave you a little space on that download that you can jot down a verse, or if there's an insight that you learn, or maybe just something, a truth of some kind, or maybe just a thought that jar, that your brain gets jarred. Is that right? That just comes to mind as you're reading this text. So I really want it to be a time that you reflect. Our church was started based on a prayer that I had for 40 days. I prayed for 40 days, and that's when the Lord revealed to to me what he wanted us to do. And so we want to use this opportunity the same way. We want to pray and seek God and pursue God during this pandemic, but hopefully he does some things in your life that would change your life. And the other thing that's maybe he'll point out some things that you need to work on, and he's giving you 40 days to do that. We want to pray for people during this time, pray for our nation, pray for our leaders for wisdom. Just spend every day seeking the Lord and pursuing the Lord. And it can be amazing things that can happen in our life. And then the other thing I want you to ask is, okay, church is a lot different now. So when this is over, and it's not going to be over for about a year and a half, we're not going to be locked down for that long, but the COVID virus is going to be here until people get it. And so they're trying to stretch it out. So we're going to have to deal with this for a while. What does that look like as a church? What does it remind us? I think we all long for fellowship, to be in people's presence. And maybe we need to elevate that to a higher priority in our life. But whatever it is, we're pursuing God during this moment. And so I hope that you'll join me every day. I'll try to post them I'll probably post them in the evening and then record them for the morning. So when you get up, you can click on it. You get to wake up to me every day. How about that? Yeah, yippee-yi-yo, how about that? Or you could go to sleep at night, whatever. Whenever you're going to read and whenever you're going to spend the time with the Lord. But I think this is a great way to do it. And this week, you're going to be beginning by Psalms 1 and 2. And then you're going to also look at Luke 1 and 2. Quick insight and I'll let you go. Psalms 1 and 2. Psalms 1 is one of those great psalms that you should memorize. It's talking about the kind of God or the kind of person that God loves. A person that pursues God and not wickedness. And it's like a tree planted by streams of water, that when we are connected to God, even in the dry seasons, that we will remain strong. So Psalms 1 is a great psalm. And then when I look at Luke 1 and 2, it's the story of Jesus' birth. And the first thing I think about is God is here. He's on his way to rescue us. He's on a rescue mission, and it starts as a little baby. And he's coming into our pandemic of sin. He's coming into this world to rescue us. And so keep that in mind as you read those first couple of chapters of the Bible, how awesome that is that God is here with us, and he's coming to save us. I hope you have a great time with the Lord today. This is the day that the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Blessings, everybody.